Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Al Rosen.
Welcome to CAD-116 Basic AutoCAD in our weekly Zoom meeting. We've just released Module 5. Module 5, maybe you can talk about this, Al?
Sure, if we go up a little bit to the information here. There you go. Mod 5 is construction tools and multi-view drawings. You can see one right below us. And it has exercises to submit the drawing assignments. Mod 5 quiz is active and ready to be used. The first one is you can pick one out of three there. If you want to, you can submit the other two for extra credit. You get 10% of the 30 points for it. Right there is an architectural one. We always try to get one if we can to put in there. We also have the video set up for it. There's bookwork. As you see, they've been color coded, ready to go.
Maybe we could talk about this color coding, Al, because we did have some confusion initially in the course. And so we're trying to get those things straightened out.
Okay. Blue, anything in blue is from book or book area, book introduction to it. Green is a lab, either information about the lab or lab work or drawings, etc. like that. Magenta color is all videos ready to go. Red is quizzes or exams.
Terrific. So as you look at it, when you see something here in blue, those are book readings or book assignments. And then when you see purple, those are videos that tie to the different assignments that are here. And then you've added this other little link here too, right?
Right. That goes right to content. So if you're reading it and working on it, you don't have to work up there. Automatic drops right in there. You can go down and pick on mod 5, and mod 5 or whatever mod you'd like to do comes up.
Right. And these classes have always been kind of workshop based. They're more lab orientated. And the tone being set by the administration is that they want to make sure that we tie in the textbooks and the learning objectives. So we've been doing these classes for a long time, and we have a set of assignments that we use for those. And we feel that you learn by doing. And so each week we will introduce new ways of doing the new construction techniques. And then we put these videos in. And so, for example, if we look at this video here, this is a video on a floor plan. And I think it ties in, yeah, there's quite a bit. It ties in a lot of the textbook assignments for it. And then if we come back, module 5. Here's our PowerPoint. And then the site plan, we get a number of landscape designers. And so we wanted to put something in there. And so there's instructions for how to do the site plan. And then there's a site plan drawing prototype, because it's a pretty complicated drawing, or at least it's not real easy to work with straight out of the box. And so this is typical of this type of business, where you'll have an existing drawing and then you'll modify it or add to it. And so in maintaining that, we start off with this blank site plan. It's basically a house with a driveway. And then we have you add all the details to it, like the plant elevations, how big the plants are, and how to locate those in the drawing. So there's a little bit of what we call general design aspects, where what we find in the past, it was all mechanical and engineering people. And now we have everybody from people who work at Trader Joe's who do the signs, to managers, to just a very general population that uses CAD. So you're to pick one of these drawings, and you're to turn that into the Module 5 Dropbox. And then we put the book objectives in there to tie into the readings. And so as we look at them.
Okay.
Eventually it'll get here, right? we were talking this morning, and if you don't have internet, it's very tough these days. Line conventions, layer concepts, layer managers, and design center. And so all of these are just tools in our in our in our toolbox, essentially, for working with mechanical or architectural drawings. And line standards and layers is how we organize them, so that when people work on one of your drawings, we have the center lines on the center line layer, we have the dimension lines on the dimension line layers, and then the techniques that we use to do that. So when somebody gets your drawing, they don't have to go and reformat everything. In the old days, we'd have really talented designers. They would draw everything on layer 0. And then me being one of the new guys out of college, we would detail everything and put it on the right layers, make sure everything was per standards. Back to our main splash page. So you're gonna pick one of these drawings, and then we have videos set for the lecture and material. This was posted in the summer. So we've gone through and redone a lot of the videos. If you have any questions on it or concerns, let us know. And then these are the assignments. And so if we click on 5A, here's our drawing assignment. The models themselves are bonus. You don't have to do the 3D. Some people have some CAD background. We kind of start to allude to that, but it really kind of helps you see what it really looks like. And so we like to add the 3D in the instructions.
If you go to the PowerPoint up there, please, Joe, up and down. That's on module 5. That goes through everything we want to talk about. Slot standards, as Joe was talking about, dimension styles, everything else go along with it.
Right, and we're trying to keep it streamlined where we don't just cut a bunch of videos and have everything discombobulated. It's more work than it sounds like, but it's hard to sometimes keep it to a minimum. And so we're trying to talk about what's important. When you work with CAD, almost you need everything at once, kind of. So there's a learning curve. Typically, it's a good 4 weeks till you start feeling comfortable with the program. But then once you start to understand how it works with layers, line types, and line weights, you're starting to work within the standards for working within this field as a CAD draftsperson, or you start to understand the language of technical drawing. And so we do include the review questions, but we find that at this time we make them bonus. And sometime in the future we may do more work with that, but your evaluation and the quizzes kind of go through and make sure that you're understanding those different concepts.
Hey, Joe, can we show them on a student version how it looks onto HonorLock and also into anything else coming up?
Well, do we have that information yet? I don't think we're there yet, because this is the online course. So I don't think we need to go through HonorLock in the midterm just yet.
It will be like coming up in another 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
We will be doing the midterm, but let's hold off a week on that, because that's still 3 weeks, probably 2.5 weeks out, and we'll cover that next week. But we will be putting a midterm in, and it'll be a proctored midterm with this, it's called HonorLock. And so this HonorLock system is a virtual proctoring software. And basically you have a webcam. And so when we give the multiple choice midterm, we'll have to verify student identities. And we use this program that's kind of the tone that we're setting for being able to work from home, so that we know people who take the test are who they are, who they say they are.
Thank you, Joe.
Sure thing, Al. So we're doing our best to keep everything on task. Al's gone through and color coding, and there's always a little bit of disconnect between the readings and the assignments, in my opinion, because the book is so big and they go through so much detail that instead of getting any drawings done, you're just learning how to draw arcs and circles in the chapter. So we have this really based as lab-based activities where each of the drawings kind of progresses and introduces new concepts. And so we found that that works quite well.
Joe, can I ask one more question, please?
Of course, you got it.
If you go up to the array drawing up there, that's the middle one, that one. If you could possibly go and AutoCAD open and just draw like a rectangle or square and put like a hash pattern on so they can see where it's located at. It might be easier for them. Great.
Walk me through it. What would you like me to do?
Well, if you take out one of the hash patterns over there on the right-hand side or side view, click that and get rid of it, please, someone.
Sure. And as you can see, when I click on it, the swatch activates for it and it allows you to make changes to it. So
Left.
for example, these hatch patterns are set by standards for certain metals. So ANSI 31 is a specific call out for a metal type. And I believe they're based on carbon content. And so I'll delete that out. And then if we wanted to go through and add a different swatch or a different hatch pattern, we can go to the hatch command and then we can choose our hatch pattern. Let's go with this one. And then all you have to do is hover in the area to apply those hatch patterns. The hatch patterns should be applied to a layer. I'm going to put it on the hatch layer. If you don't have a hatch layer, you may need to create one, but it's always best to kind of separate those things out. And so as you work with hatch patterns and things, what you'll find is that they're not too difficult to apply. And then the layering themselves goes towards some of these standards. And so when we look at a hatch pattern, it's a very thin line weight, because what we don't want is to have this thing really high and then it kind of overwhelms the drawing. And so the line weights affect the visibility of the drawings. And it talks about that in the chapter. So I'm just going to go put this back to 0.15. Because you don't want to see a bunch of hatch patterns with the drawing in the background. You want to see a drawing, first the object lines, and then the hatch patterns. And so the line weights are varied. The other thing that this exercise does is it talks about how to do polar arrays, right? So if we were to copy this, I think that would be the easiest way. If I were to copy this in one of the bolts.
Turn off the line weight for a minute, please.
Sure.
It might be easier for them to see. This was a little bit too thick for right now.
I think it's better with them on, Al.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave them on.
any,
Yeah.
okay.
And then if we wanted to use a polar array on this, we can go to our polar array command, select the object to be arrayed, hit enter, locate the center. And so you have to make sure that you read through these different options. And so what I'll do is I'll just swipe and use an O snap. These are your O snaps. And again, this is what we kind of mean by you kind of have to know how to use all these different things at once. So there is a bit of a curve on it. But, you know, that's how it is with technology. We'll make 12 items. And then we have certain things enabled on here like rotate items, which means that this little center marks are rotated so that they all point towards the center of the geometry. So we introduce how to do these bolt patterns and how to use these different modify commands in this chapter, along with standards for line types and line weights.
Thank you very much. And also the one above it is array command, but it's a rectangular array.
Right, and we do have great videos on that. At least we feel that the videos are pretty decent. We do them on YouTube, so you're always welcome to like them. We haven't really figured out how to be social media guys yet, but we're working on it. Okay, Al. Al's color coded these. Did we talk about that? I think we did.
Yeah.
So with that, Al, is there anything else that we want to talk about in our short video recap weekly Zoom meeting?
No, if upcoming events come up and they're not set up correctly, let us know. But normally we give you a week or week and a half or 2 weeks leeway in it, no matter what, before we even think about taking up points. So don't worry about it.
Right. We just want to keep everything organized. And occasionally, I think what happens with these late starting classes is that we had a little bit of a glitch last week, but you guys helped us straighten it all out and we fixed it. So that'll conclude this week's weekly Zoom meeting. I'm going to stop the recording and open things up for questioning.